Welcome to another edition of Smalltalk for You. This morning I wanted to go through something that came up at work recently, and that is we wanted to find all of the string references to a bunch of strings in the system. Now it turns out that if you go to the browser in VisualWorks and you go to the Find menu, you'll find methods with strings matching, and you can type something in, like let's say within store base I want to find all the references to select. And it'll chew for a little bit and come up with something like this. So it'll come up with all the places that you have that string in the source code. Somewhat useful, but manual. So what if you had, instead of one string, a whole collection of strings that came out of, say, I don't know, a spreadsheet or a Word document that you would put into some formatted file? Well, what I'm going to do is not really show you how to do all of that specifically, but how to get started on doing that. So what you do is pull down the Find menu and say, well, I know I want to use this functionality that's behind this dialog. Well, just hit Control Y. If you hit Control Y, you get the debugger up, and let's move this dialog out of our way. And you now have this. You can scroll down to the point where you find the code that looks interesting. So past the spawning of the dialog box and into the actual browser. And you see now here's where it's actually requesting, and that's where the dialog came up. That's where we interrupted the execution. But down below we see, okay, it's going open on environment, self-environment matches. The environment here, which you can look at. So we'll just go ahead and highlight this. Self-environment, inspect. And it's the browser environment on the specific place we are. We don't have any search strings, but that tells us what we want. So what you can do is you could go ahead and augment the menu system of the browser, give it an input file instead of this one dialog box, and basically clone this method. So instead of this stuff up here that looks for the search string with the dialog, have it read in your formatted file, get the data, and then iterate over it, collectively grabbing all of this stuff. And that's pretty much how you would accomplish the mission that I had to accomplish at work last week, is to fire off in there. Kind of the more important lesson is that in Smalltalk, if you can interrupt an action, and this is true in VisualWorks, Squeak, Pharo, Visual Age, any Smalltalk really, if you don't understand how some action works, just interrupt it and look. Once you find the place where the execution of interest is happening, which is what I found here, you can go in and screw around with it. So that's about it for today. Until next time, have fun with Smalltalk.